Gone are the days of Valor badges. Gone are the days of having limitations based on your Mythic Plus rating. No, no, no. Now you upgrade based on all of the content you do and just, you know, how much currency you have. Have you done your 5 heroic dungeons for the free 415 loot, Sam, or no? I have not, King, and I do plan on doing that. Could be today, could be tomorrow, but we are going to do that. I do have the quest for it. So let's check this video out. Let's see what Bellular has to say about this whole new upgrade system.
I'm going to teach you all that you need to know to thrive with patch 10.1's new gear upgrade system. It really is quite the change. It may even seem like a lot, but in reality,
it does feel like
you'll feel more able to succeed. And as the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy...
And one big thing was the raid gear. Raid gear was upgradable. I noticed that yesterday from the Dungeon Journal.
Printed on its back, don't panic. Put simply, the old Valor point system for Mythic Plus is gone, and this new upgrade system exists across all game content except for PvP. Blizzard didn't put it there because they didn't want to break what already worked with Season 1.
Right.
So essentially in this, when new gear drops, regardless of its source, it will have upgrade levels. And depending on the content that you do, a few of those levels may even be filled out. So, how do you upgrade gear? Well, you do that with 2 different resources, Flightstones and Crests. These are almost like the old Valor and Justice points of the bygone eras of the game, but it's a system that is a lot more alt-friendly, and it's quite...
So far, I feel like Flightstones are like less, you know, they're a smaller item level. It's like less gear.
Generous, just like our
than the Crest.
Patreon.
I could be wrong.
Here's the dead cool loot for the month of May, and beyond that, we've brought back the Lore Walking podcast. We've got an episode on Neltharin.
I keep saying I'm going to listen to this podcast
behind-the-scenes videos, vlogs from me on our plans, how I work, early access content, and more. And as time goes on, I'm going to be putting more and more and more into this, so hop aboard at that link down below, get some extra content, get some loot, and with that said, let's go. All upgrades in this system require Flightstones, which are infinitely farmable. That's right, you get them from doing anything, be it a world quest, a dungeon, LFR, heroic, rare mob, public event.
Cool,
they have no cap. Well, they are infinitely farmable, but you can only hold 2,000 on your character at once, so you will need to use them. Basically, they're not going to be much of a limiting factor, so don't worry. The better the item that you're upgrading, the higher the cost will be in Flightstones, but harder content will drop more Flightstones. The next part in our puzzle is Crests.
These are what I still don't really understand.
Shadowflame Crests. They are our second thing. And beyond a certain point, you will need crests to upgrade your gear. Now, you can only get so many crests per week, with the cap increasing on a weekly basis. There are multiple types of crest, each corresponding to how difficult the content that you're doing actually is. Now, to fully understand this, we also need to bring actual gear itself into the mix. So, you know how gear from Mythic Plus in the old system would just say Mythic, like 1 out of 13, denoting where it came from and how upgraded it is? Well, the same thing's happening here, but with a few new labels, which are Adventurer, Veteran, Champion, Hero, and Mythic. And with the exception of Mythic, all of these can be upgraded. Hero can be upgraded only 5 times. All the others, though, have a total of 8 upgrade levels. But what's smart here is that there's actually overlap between the gear item level ranges here. So, Explorer 1 out of 8, your bog standard, like, weakest gear. It's Explorer,
this is the gear we've been getting like through the quest
rank 1
lines.
out of 8, item level 376. If you upgraded that to Explorer 4 out of 8, it would be item level 385. Now, Explorer 5 out of 8
is what it says behind me right
that is eye level 389.
Okay.
The next level of gear up, Adventurer gear. Well, Adventurer gear 1 out of 8 is also 389. Now, this initially seems confusing having this overlap, but what the result is that the gear that you get lasts a bit longer because gear from...
So it looks like you always need Flightstones plus a crest to upgrade. Flightstones are always required, sometimes crests are required, depending on how high you're pushing the item level.
Somewhat easier content that you did further back ago, it can be upgraded to a decently better item level, to a point. This has some amazing upsides when we get into,
King,
say,
we'll
raid
see.
content. Anyway,
I'm not
gear
pushing to
can
do
be
raid, but if we
upgraded
have time,
to,
we
say,
can.
Adventurer 4 out of 8, which is the same as Explorer 8 out of 8, using only Flightstones. This equates to item level 398, so you can
Okay.
get your character fully to 398 in a 100% grindable, at your own pace fashion.
Yeah.
This, by the way, is what corresponds to heroic dungeons,
just don't get why they have the
Mythic
2000
Zero,
cap. That
world
doesn't make sense
content,
to me.
that kind of thing. Beyond that, though, crests are involved.
Yeah,
now,
crests.
you can
That's
earn
what's
a
gonna be
total
important
of
to us.
10 of each type of crest per week.
Okay.
This cap is going to increase over time, and because of how that works, you'll essentially not have to worry about the cap.
The good thing is about the crests is they essentially will still make normal, viable for us. Like even though we do normal after we've kind of outgeared it, we'll still be getting
Quite
crests.
soon. Now, there are 4 types of crest, and it
These all have
feels
to do with
confusing when I
difficulty, I
explain it
think.
all at once, but when you see it in game, it'll make sense. So they are
Okay.
called Whelpling, Drake, Worm, and Aspect.
Oh, okay.
Okay?
Okay.
And those roughly correspond to LFR, Normal,
Right.
Heroic, and Mythic raid
Right.
difficulties,
All right.
and of course, their Mythic plus equivalents. So Whelpling crests will be quite plentiful from the game. They will drop from LFR bosses, Mythic plus dungeons below 6, and
Okay.
even stuff in the Zarlet Cavern. And with these, you can upgrade your early adventurer gear to item level 411.
Damn.
Drake crests then come from normal raid, Mythic plus dungeons between
Okay.
6 and 10, which I will note are only going to have one affix active now. Some weekly
That's
events
right.
and a Zarelek thing that I'll explain in a little bit. Now, these can bring your gear all the way up to item level 424,
424.
which is pretty damn sweet.
normal raid.
But if you're doing no group content, this
bet.
is pretty much as high as you'll be getting, and yeah, it won't be at a breakneck pace. Okay, next I'm going to talk about Drake and Worm crests. These are from
Yes.
normal and heroic raiding, respectively, and the equivalent keystone level brackets, of course, to those. Now, for raiders, they give us something that we've never really had before, and I'm going to walk you through this by just using a sort of typical head of the curve, like kind of mid guild as an example.
Or like
which would be
that
us.
applies to
Okay,
applies to
so
us.
let's say you
essentially.
start off in normal mode.
'Cause we always
While
get ahead of the
clearing
curve,
normal
that's right.
mode, you will be earning champion gear and Drake crests.
Right.
Now, these Drake crests can be used to upgrade your champion gear that you get from normal mode
Okay.
up to champion 4 out of 8. And they can also be used to upgrade your veteran gear to veteran 8 out of 8. Yeah, so that older gear that you perhaps got from sources like LFR or low mythic, you can actually still upgrade that from doing normal. So
Okay,
even if
yeah.
you get 0 loot drops from doing the raid, you can still upgrade some of your gear. Next then, heroic time. So let's say you finally make it to heroic. You start progressing heroic. Bosses now drop hero gear, and you begin to earn worm crests. These worm
yeah.
crests bring your hero gear from hero rank 1 all the way up to hero rank 4. But they
Right.
can also bring your champion gear from champion 5 to champion 8. And that means that the gear that you earned in normal mode isn't dead to you, right?
Sure.
So even if you're progging heroic, you get no loot drops, the gear that you already earned
That's
from normal
nice.
mode can be upgraded with the
So on
currency.
the weeks when we do normal and heroic, even if you get nothing from heroic, but you got something from normal earlier in the week, you can use the heroic crests to upgrade your normal gear to like heroic item level gear. That's
get
nice.
from doing heroic, meaning you'll always walk out of raid night having progressed your character in a
Yes.
deterministic fashion with no
Damn,
RNG.
with a stream like
And then
ours, we're
finally,
gonna
there
get a
are
lot of
aspect
progression out of it.
crests. These will upgrade your gear from hero 4 out of 5 to hero 5 out of 5, which is basically the same item level as low mythic. And they're also used for some crafting stuff that I'll touch on in a little bit. Now, for Mythic Plus players, this is going to feel rather similar to you. It's quite generous
Yeah.
in pace.
Whether or not Mythic Plus is going to be better than Mythic rating, I mean, I feel like that was already the case. I felt like doing a Mythic Plus 20 was way easier than killing Mythic level bosses in raid. But I think at least what this will do... Damn it. Damn it, that scares the shit out of me every time. Oh, how's it going, lords? I think what this will do is it'll, what's it called? Push your gear higher by doing Mythic Plus, yeah, but it'll make Mythic rating easier. So I mean, the progression of the two will be connected.
Though,
But I don't
now
think
the
Mythic
trade-off
Plus being
is
easier
that each bit of
to get
gear
higher
that you
item level
get
gear than
does
Mythic
have
rating
a
is a new
ceiling,
thing.
as
That's always
opposed to
been the
how
case.
it used to work
Good
in the
morning.
past. But as a plus, though, the vault actually drops higher item level loot than it used to for you, and that loot
I'm
that
not
is
sure
at a
what's
higher
going on with
item level
Farak Assault,
can then be
Sam.
upgraded. Now, while all of this might seem a bit overwhelming
into
to
it
you,
today.
it does just boil down to this. Everything gives you Flightstones. Harder things give you crests, or crest fragments. I'll talk about those. The fragments are turned into the crests. Anyway, you get your Flightstones, you get your crests, you get your gear, you upgrade it based
Mount
on what
runs
the
always on
tooltip says,
Tuesdays.
and you'll be getting those resources anyway. You don't actually have to think about it that much. Basically, the difference now is that progress is always rewarded. And now that I've got the basics out of the way,
That's right.
let's just talk about a few more specifics. The first thing I want to cover is fragments. So here's the deal. Crests have 0 RNG to them, right? Instead, you get a fixed amount of fragments for doing content. As an example, bosses drop 10 and end bosses drop 15.
I didn't know this.
Timed keys drop 12 and depleted keys drop 5.
Oh,
You just
shit.
turn these fragments in at a vendor and you get your crests. Now the cap starts at 150 per type and it increases by 150 per week. Now, because crests cost 15 fragments, overall, you're starting off with 10 crests of each type. And, well, the way
Damn
that
it, man.
increases
I'm
just
not gonna
means
lie,
that
WoW has too many
this will
currencies.
almost feel like an uncapped thing not too far into the season.
Getting fragments.
And yes, it is
turning
somewhat
into
currency
crests.
bloat, but the
Yeah,
reason why
currency
they've
bloat,
done this with the
exactly.
fragments is so that they get to make this be purely deterministic with the
Right,
pacing
okay.
that they want.
Okay.
Alt friendliness and some catch-up stuff is really key here, though. So, to put a long story short, upgrading a new highest item level in a given slot by using crests or getting an item level drop
Okay.
means
I wonder how many
that
Shadowflame
bringing
crests I had
any
from
other
questing
item
the other day. I don't know.
in that
I'm
slot
gonna do a bunch of
up
dailies
to
today,
that
get a
item
bunch of
level will cost you 0 crests and half the Flightstones. And what that basically means is, say you get a high item level trinket that is not BIS. Well, that
Right.
still is going to be a bit of a win for you, because you'll be able to, let's just say you get a lower item level trinket, but it's a really good one.
Right.
Well, you can actually then upgrade that using no crests and half the Flightstones. And then the Flightstone
No
discount
crests.
applies on an account-wide.
No crests and half the Flightstones will upgrade it. Okay. See, that's a good thing because I had a best in slot trinket, 408 one, for a long time. I still have it. And I wish it was upgradable because I sat there with a 408 trinket for most of the last raid tier.
Basis.
Even
so
though my
this
overall
is
item level was
just
415.
way faster for your alts. Okay, so for us Raiders and Mythic Plussers, we basically are just getting more for doing what we were already doing.
Yeah.
But for the world content people, this does represent a nice old increase in your access to powerful gear. You can earn Drake crests, giving you access to a full set of item level 424 gear, which is mid-normal Wraith level.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, by doing Farak Assaults, which is the new version of Primal Storms, you can get some Drake crests. This is
Where
kind
are
of
these
almost
things?
like earning your Storm Sigils in Season 1 as an analogy,
Are
I
they
guess.
active right
And
now?
by
I
the
know
way,
where they
the
are.
gear from the
They're in Azurispan and the Onaharan Plains. But it was supposed to be week 9, and then people said, "Oh no, it was dropping this week," and I haven't really seen it yet. Is it out or not? Has anyone done a Farak Assault yet?
Farak Assaults looks sick as fuck. I'll be doing
Yeah,
those
I
for
definitely
sure.
want this
And then
gear.
down in the new zone, you're going to find rares, you're going to find treasures.
they are. You have
There's
to pick
the
up a quest to
sniff
unlock
and
it.
seeking.
Okay.
There's the bartering minigame.
Check that out.
World quests, loads of public events, as well as a weekly quest. And then there's the big weekly event called Researchers Under Fire. Now, a whole bunch of this stuff, basically you'll get bags of loot, depending on what you do.
Yes.
And these can
Give me
contain
that loot.
unearthed fragment coins. Now, there's a vendor in Zaralek that lets you turn these in for crest fragments, basically enough to earn 2 Whelpling and 2 Drake crests per week. Those unearthed coins also drop from those public events, of which there are 18, which really is a lot to do in that zone. I actually think they're set to achieve a bit of a solid Timeless Isles-like
much.
vibe with it. But overall,
Caligos will
that's
give you
just
the
an
quest.
example of how, as a world content player who's perhaps soloing,
Okay, I'm gonna go
you
see.
do actually have access to these crests for upgrading your gear. Crafted gear, though, is also
Crafted
involved
gear.
here.
Yeah, use the
Basically,
Shadowflame
the system
sparks.
is very similar to before.
upgrade
The
your
difference
crafting
is
gear.
that now
Upgrade your
enchanters
lariat.
make an enchanted crest. That will require a few crests of whatever difficulty level you're dealing with, and a spark. Just like how the sparks worked in the previous season.
Wait a minute. So if you get enchanted... Oh, so if we're doing heroic, you could upgrade your lariat to 424 to 437 with the Shadow Flame crest and... Okay. That makes sense. Mythic. Holy crap. 434 to 447.
However, with the sparks, you just get one of those every 2 weeks,
Yeah.
starting from the week the patch comes out.
We got
and
2
that's
this
just
week.
it until the end of the season. And the crafting
it'll be
gear, by
one
the way, is
every
item
week
level-wise
after
a
this.
smidge more powerful this time round. Now, also, for the less powerful crafted gear, you can actually turn 150 Flightstones in to get an enchanted Flightstone. And this is used to craft a Titan Training Matrix 5. It's a new Titan Training Matrix. And this brings your gear up to eye level 395, which is pretty damn handy for
noob item
catch-up.
level. Get
And I
that
suppose
shit
one
outta
thing that I really want to highlight here and emphasize is just the overall impact. Let's even take the Great Vault. So, Vault gear can be upgraded. That's kind of a new experience for us raiders. Getting normal mode Vault gear won't feel as bad because you can upgrade it to heroic.
Shit,
The flexibility here basically
Running
just
normal is gonna
increases
be
the range
more
of
important than it's ever been.
usefulness of all gear in
Running
the game.
normal will not be a joke anymore, like just a carry raid. Like, even the people who are carrying through normal are going to get gear that they can upgrade. This is good. This is really good, especially for the way we play the game right now.
And it's similar with your
By
tier
we, I mean
gear.
this stream.
Those maybe normal, those normal difficulty pieces of tier gear that aren't as strong, but you do feel you need to use to complete your 4 set, those won't feel as bad when you can upgrade them,
Or a
right?
biz trinket.
And,
from normal.
finishing your tier,
Upgrade that
it
shit.
really won't be much of a problem. The catalyst actually kicks in at week 5, and Sarkareth drops an Omni token, which means that the raid actually has got 6 tier-dropping bosses, with one of those being the Omni token that can turn into any piece, which is just incredible compared to the past. So even that is a big, big upgrade.
Nice.
And even as that applies to Mythic Plus, now, yeah, Mythic Plus players can no longer upgrade gear from, upgrade level 1 all the way up to 13, right? And in a way, that is a bit of a loss. But also, this
8 out of
new
10, not
system,
bad.
it does allow for much more upgrading in general. And with how the Vault and affixes work, I do think you're going to be pulling ahead. There's no seasonal affix. Many affixes have been nerfed. They kick in at plus
Mythic
7
Plus
and
should
plus
be
14,
easier
up from plus 4
starting
and plus
next
7.
week.
Meaning that doing a Mythic
We'll
plus
see.
15, that'll have 2 affixes down from 3. There won't be a Thundering as an example.
Right.
So in a way, it will be more easy, maybe more approachable.
Yeah.
As an example, Mythic plus 13 only has 1 affix.
Yeah,
That
that's crazy.
really is easier than a 13 right now.
100%
And doing
easier.
a 13 will get you a piece of Champion 3 gear, which is item level 421 and can be upgraded all the way up to 437.
Damn. Oh, damn.
Right? And then with how the crest fragment caps increase every week, honestly, this will almost feel uncapped in not that much time,
Right.
which I do think is a real big win. Again, you earn 12
good.
fragments for timing a key and 5 for depleting.
So much better than the
that's
Valor
versus
way we had of doing things.
where with this new system, the difficulties actually mean that you're rewarded for playing the, appropriate difficulty to get the better type of fragment, rather than just spamming +2s for Valor, which is pretty boring.
Yeah.
So then, with that said, this is how the new system works. I've not went into giga detail about gearing strategies here. That would make this video
Just do
absurdly
shit.
long. Today the
Seems
mission
like
is
just
to
do
learn
shit
the new
and you'll get
upgrade
gear.
system, because this is something they may actually extend to future seasons if it works out. Now, I'm going to have a solo leveling guide out a bit later this week, and we'll make a season gearing guide with all of the big nerdy optimizations too when the time is right. Because honestly, this time round, even personally, I want to go full big dirty bastard mode on this patch.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, and hopefully this works out.
Oh,
I think
yeah.
this is really,
I'm
really
ready to gear
exciting.
the hell
again.
out of this-
Okay,
this
next
patch.
up, watch this if you'd like to learn a bunch more useful stuff about this patch. Thanks for watching. If you want to support us and get some dope loot, early access, behind the scenes, additional content, you can check out the Patreon down below. All right, cheers, and I'll see you next time.
Nice. Nice. Okay. So do I understand this more than I did prior to watching the video? Maybe. I think so. I think I understand it a little bit more. That's good.